beat Colombia on Tuesday, and surely it's coming home. Like, I'm 100% confident. The path is there, and if the boys want to take it, the boys will take it. So it's down to them. Harry Kane, come through. So welcome back, guys, to another video. Today I'm actually going to film a push session. Yeah, I said that right, push session. Today, and it's going to be my push session A. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing. I'm really going to focus on chest, and I'm going to show you exactly the exercises I'm going to do for that, to focus on that area, because for me, my chest is lagging massively. I'm just going to quickly show you how I meal prep, and this is what works for myself, and this is how I keep on track with all my food, so I don't have to suddenly go out to a co-op or whatever and reach the nearest sandwich, and this is what keeps me on track. So with my carbs, I cook in bulk, so I cook like a whole load of rice in there. I do that with potatoes and pasta as well, but at the moment it's rice. So for cost benefit wise, bagels, like normally they're like $1.60, but sometimes they go on offer for like £1 for a whole pack. I buy like 3 packs and then I chuck them in the freezer. I defrost it, and it basically tastes the same. So there I have the quantity, and I have the cost element sorted. So it's not that expensive, and at the end of the day, like, I've always got that. It's always going to be there, either if it's in the freezer or in the fridge. So that is my pre-workout. So I've got my rice with some veg, bagel with honey and jam, and it's just purely going to be carbs. I'm going to try and not have too much protein at the moment, because I'm bulking. I'm trying to reserve them for sort of early in the morning or later in the evening. Again, I'm just kind of trialing this out and seeing what works. Mainly putting my carbs, which I normally do around my workout, but I'm just going to take a bit of protein out and then see if that makes a bit of a difference. So I'm going to eat these. So if you guys ever want like a boring meal like this, like rice and veg, to actually taste decent, all you need is some salt, a little bit of 50% less sugar, ketchup. Not too much, but just enough. And this is not going to go with every meal, but this is what I'd perhaps call like boring meals, which like my micronutrients will come in place. Every meal isn't like this, I'm not that bro, but sometimes it is needed, and yeah, just need that like little bit extra to make it taste good. So push session A today. So I'm going to focus on incline dumbbell bench. That's going to be my very first movement, and that's where I really want to kind of progress with. It's a movement that I've kind of been struggling for a while, and that's purely because of the shoulder. I haven't actually got it checked out yet, but I think there's something to do with my rear delt that is kind of pulling my shoulder back a little bit, so I've got a little bit of imbalance. But until that point, I've really kind of broken it down, because towards the end of prep I wasn't going kind of deep enough, and I was kind of rushing it, and I kind of lost that mind to muscle connection. So I've kind of stripped it all down. Last week, what did I do? I did 37.5 for 8, and that's my very first set, and I wanted 6 to 8, so I'm going to try the 40s today. Keep that 2-3 second eccentric phase going, and see where I can progress to this movement. But that very first movement is my first session of the week. It's my first movement of the week. I'm going to absolutely nail that, and hopefully I'm going to get really strong. So into the session. So into my first exercise, dumbbell incline bench press. Not sure what I'm doing with my fingers right now, but I'm kind of getting to the zone. I'm not the sort of person that would perhaps get all psyched up, start shouting everywhere. I'm quite like a chilled out sort of person when I train, and that's how I kind of work. So first rep range of 6 to 8. I got 8 reps here with the 40s and progression from last week. Loving these this is kind of how I've been training the last kind of year, and that is 2 sets per exercise. I've tried the kind of crazy high volume approach before in the past. This just works better for myself. I find that I fatigue quite easily, and this approach to training higher intensity, lower volume, just works better for myself. This is my second rep range, 10 to 12, got 11 with these. Not quite happy with the depth looking back, and this is the perks of kind of filming yourself, even though you might get some funny looks, but you know, I'm kind of touching up on and seeing things that perhaps I didn't see before. just these last few reps sort of struggling. As you can see, there's this little slight imbalance there that I said earlier that I'm trying to deal with. But until that point, I'm just going to do the best I can. Bit of a struggle for this last rep. So that was my first exercise. Into my second one, which was the seated overhead press. So I've tried standing overhead press, and I kept that movement in for way too long. It put too much emphasis on my lower back. I've had lower back problems before, and I kind of just powered through because I knew it was an important movement. I only tried this out about sort of 6 months ago, and it stayed ever since. It's taken a little bit of a knock since my prep and holiday, but it's back in. So first rep range 8 to 10, and then in a minute I do 12 to 15 reps. When you're kind of looking to build your shoulders, anything overhead pressing will be beneficial to yourself. That's not to say don't do standard overhead press. I just prefer this variation. It just puts all the emphasis on the shoulders rather than anything else, and it kind of takes away that momentum a little bit, because you see so many people that find that kind of bounce when they do an overhead press, when you actually think about it, what are you actually working, and you're not really working that much. You're not isolating the muscle group, which you should be doing when you're looking to progressively overload. Sure, anyone can bounce up like 80 kilos, but can you control the weight? The answer will probably be no. So break it down, try this movement out. I really highly rate this one. Last few reps are a little bit of a struggle. I think I absolutely flop in this last one. Yeah, no, I did, yeah. Into my next movement, resistant chest press. I don't know why, but this movement is the one that makes me feel really sick to begin with. Just a random guy walking past. That kind of knocked my mindset a little bit into the set. Kind of put me off to begin with, but some things you just gonna have to power through. Yeah, so as I was saying, don't know what it is, but this one you kind of have to take your mind elsewhere. That's why I'm kind of closing my eyes, pulling weird faces. Love this movement. I feel it massively, but just feel super sick doing it. I don't know why. I've always had a problem with my wrists. That's why I wear my wrist straps. It doesn't really make a massive difference, but it just helps that small amount, and any little bit of help really does count. So this is my second rep range of 12 to 15. Just about got 12. Again, with the depth, not quite happy, and that's something going into next week that I'm going to really sort out. At the time, it feels like you're going quite deep and you're feeling the chest, but when you look back here, you can still see there's that little bit of extra room that you can go. So I might just take the weight down a little bit and just find that depth. Final few reps, absolutely struggle, as you can see. So into the next exercise, which is resistance shoulder press. I'm really not sure on this movement. I've kept this in for a while, but this is the first time me kind of filming myself doing this movement, and looking back before I was filming this doesn't do me quite justice with kind of how low I was going. I was still finding a decent amount of depth. Just because I'm not sure about the sort of press movement, I much prefer like a seated overhead press or a dumbbell shoulder press. So I'm going to keep this in for the next kind of 5-6 weeks, and then go from there, and see if I might take this out and put something else in there. On to my next movement, which is the flat hammer press. Apologies about the camera angle here. Not brilliant at all. This is another movement that I put in just before my prep, and I'm really fond of this. Again, going back to mindset to muscle connection, really kind of feeling that stretch. And for me, as long as I'm feeling that, then I'll take that all day long, because I know I'm working the muscle group. Just be careful with kind of overextending. As you can see, my elbows are slightly bent at the top. I see a lot of people do this and they'll extend their elbows all the way out, and it just kind of worries me a little bit when I see other people doing that. On to the next movement, which is dumbbell side raises. I've done a lot heavier before in the past with this movement. This is 20 kilos for 10. but I'm really trying to control the eccentric phase. As you can see when the weight's coming back towards my leg, I'm just trying to control it a little bit more, keep all the tension in the shoulders rather than just suddenly just dropping. So I did a set of 8 to 10, so this was 10, and then I did a set of 15, and that was with a rest pause set, which I didn't film. On to the next exercise, which is tricep dips. This is another one that I have a kind of love-hate relationship with. I want thick triceps, and then chest and triceps is something that I've been struggling with for a while. And tricep dips, I've never really been a fan. Going back to my kind of wrists, it's always put me off, felt a little bit sick, and I took this movement out for way too long. Introduced it again last 6 months, already kind of seeing the benefits from it, and now's the time to really progress. So that, again, apologies about the camera angle, this is my first set of 6 to 8, and then I do a slightly higher rep range. Tricep push down, really rate this movement, but only with a 1 second hold at the bottom. I don't feel it at all if I'm kind of bouncing. You see a lot of people bounce. I'm gonna put all the emphasis on that tricep. It should be an isolation movement, there should be no bouncing. If you're doing like a rest pause set or a drop set and you're just kind of pushing blood around and you're just trying to expend some more kind of like energy as such, absolutely fine. But if you're doing that for every kind of rep, then there's no real benefit at all. You're not working the muscle group. Did a couple of higher sets on this one. Yeah, just control the movement for a few seconds as you come up. Trying to get me, motherfucker! Trying to scare me.